So I'd love to start off with just how was it getting your family to do this, to film for you?
That was the easy part, in the sense that they wanted to help me out. I was actually, recently coming out from drugs. I had a few years of clean time, and I wasn't working much. I had the money problem, so I decided it's a good time to help him out, and they were there for me. Actually, until I started asking the question, they were all very happy.
Of course. So you're saying this is a sort of new idea. It's not an idea you've had going on for a while, or was it a project that you?
It's a project that I had for a while, in the sense that the truth of the matter, I still had ruins on my body because of the drug addiction, and I really, first of all, my problem was how do I feed my kids? The idea came out of the need of making some money, and so that was how I started to think, what can I do? And I thought that besides the fact that my grandfather was who he was, my relatives were. They all had very interesting stories, the two different twins, my father being the memory of my grandfather, and Robin, the arch of his story, and the Inuan ones, and it's Noor, that was Raffaele, turning into, converting to become a Muslim. And but it took me a long time, from the day I had the idea, into the time I was actually presenting it in Venice took me 8 years, and halfway through this, period, I pitched the project to Raffaele, and he saw actually in the beginning just the funeral, and he thought it could have been a good idea producing it. But then he had his time funding the budget for it, so, and. Producing and directing documentaries, it's not easy, and if I was, I can say something out of my experience is that don't do it for money. That's not. But going through, by approaching the project, writing it with Andrea, which helped me out throughout the whole project, the writer, and I started to see the opportunity of actually doing something that was going along well with what I was doing in recovery. I was actually facing and asking those questions that usually are not asked in families, and I thought that there could be something that could be interesting for my own growth. Okay.
That's really incredible. So you spoke a bit about the footage or the home videos and the funeral at the beginning. How was it going through all of these home videos and getting them, and just that whole process? It was
very interesting. I knew a lot of material because part was family archives. Ingrid Bergman was very orderly. She grew up. She had all her life a camera or a photo camera and a film camera, 8mm. Then moved on in Super 8 and then 16mm. So she filmed throughout all her life, and then there was a lot of archive that some of it I knew already because I did a 19 minutes short on Ingrid Bergman, which was just on editing, and so I had. But then I was helped a lot by the editor Ilaria De Laurentiis, and it was a lot of work. Also, we should turn the question also to the producer because it wasn't easy to get to the material.
Yeah, I'd love to hear from your side as well.
About the archive, yes, it was a long research. Of course, as Alessandro said, the first thing I saw was only the picture of the funeral. And I was totally fascinated and stuck on that. But then it took quite some time to understand exactly why Alessandro wanted to make this film. And I remember one day on a telephone call, he spoke to me about the ROSSELLINIS, but this was already some months after we decided we want to try making a film. And I say, yes, I say, maybe we have something. Maybe I got what Alessandro really felt inside, why he want to make a film about the family. Apart from squeezing the brand of the family, milk the family brand, as you wanted to say to me, I said, why wouldn't you want to make this film? Because I want to make some money, because I think it's my turn to squeeze the family brand, but I felt there was something else. And so when we came to the idea of the Rossellinitis, I think we got that. But the question was on the archive, I think.
Yeah, but I love hearing that as well. Yeah.
The archive was beautiful. Ingrid's footage and the footage on the island, and this was really, really great. And then we spent a long time searching for the archive and long time negotiating for the rights, because Roberto Rossellini's films are very expensive. And also the footage from the American TVs was very expensive, so it was a hard task.
But it came together so beautifully.
Thank you.
Yeah. I really loved the conversation about the Rosselliniitis that you had with your aunt Isabella. And it made a lot of sense to me, and I thought the conversation, especially speaking to someone who sort of understands their beauty and their success, in a way, I found it's sometimes hard from that perspective to understand another's perspective like yours, feeling sort of like you can't, this name is just so hard to like live up to. And in that same conversation, you speak about how this is sort of like therapy. Did it feel like therapy in the end? Was it therapeutic?
Yes, it was. It was. It was very intense. It was very moving, and with Isabella, with my mother, especially with my father, with all of them, and I did actually understood more. But what was very interesting, what was for me something that really put the pieces together was afterwards, when people start seeing the film this past year, because people will tell me about their relation, their families, and different perspective, and that helped me out a lot, and yeah.
Yeah, I thought you and Ingrid sort of shared a perspective a little bit in the conversation you were having about sort of feeling like outsiders a bit. And I also really enjoyed that conversation. But speaking about your mother, I have one final question before I turn it over. Has the family gotten together at all recently, or?
No. After that situation, we kept on doing what we always did. Some of us would meet for Christmas, or would come to New York. I kept in touch much more with my mother until she recently passed away, but we didn't have other reunions. No.
Sorry to hear that.
Okay.
I would love to turn it over to the audience if anyone has some questions.
Well, there was one moment I showed them the film, and wasn't this version, was much longer, and I think it was a little harsher even, and they weren't very happy with it. And but nobody say never, don't do it, or we don't want you to be part of it, because as Isabella said in an interview she did, one thing is that my grandfather passed on to us is to be free, and that everybody can have their own ideas, and it's important everybody expresses his own idea, so they end up accepting it. I did some changes, and actually I'm glad I did it. I think it's more fluent, it's shorter, and it's more direct and compact now. So it was actually good that I got suggestion from them, and some changes I made. Well, the bigger surprise was to find out that for Mother, the relation with my father was profound love, because I never really got that. She was always very angry at that point towards my father and my grandmother, my grandfather, and so I only heard the hatred part, and so I was actually very happy to know that. And my father doesn't talk about much of anything, and so it was a great surprise to know that at least right about when I was taking birth, they were actually loving each other.
First of all, I love the movie.
Thank you.
And I'd love to say, you talked about this kind of session where you all met. The film was longer, it was harsher. In terms of the feedback and editing process, did you set a general rule? Like, okay, each one of you gets to say one thing they want me to take out? Or was it just kind of very fluid? And because I'm in a way surprised you even let them give you feedback at all. That must be so hard with family.
No, yes. I really thought that they could help, and I really wanted to know what they thought about it, and I really didn't want to be, fighting with them. So, I was open to that. And but the truth of the matter is that these kind of films, you actually write them on the editing. Is we had only the questions beforehand, and so it was a good opportunity to put my hands on again and again and again. The process of editing took on and off more than 2 years, and so we had a lot of different versions, and what they saw was already close to what we have seen today.
Right here in the front.
What's next?
Next, everybody told me that, great, you did this film, it's doing well. There is a lot of opening with documentaries. Don't think about making a fiction film, because that's, impossible, it's hard. So I decided to do that, of course. And so I'm preparing a film, and maybe it looks like I found a producer in Italy. It's going to be an Italian film, and let's see if this time I can really fuck it up.
Would your grandfather be proud of the filmmaking that you performed, your directing?
I have no idea, sincerely, in the sense that, I think he would enjoy the fact that it's a research of truth, which was his big, all his project. He would say that his films were about searching for the truth. So maybe, in that sense, he would like it. I don't know if he would enjoy how I portrayed him, and that I have some doubts. So, okay. Thank you. From the very beginning, my idea is to make a film. I would say, they wouldn't understand a pop film, and what I meant is to have a film that maybe could be relating to all different kind of people of public, and also me, but also my family are Italian, and there is this filmmaking, historical Italian filmmaking, which is called Commedia all'Italiana, where there is a balance always of very dramatic things, but then coming out of it with cynical jokes, and that's our DNA. This is how I think it's very Italian. It's very Central and South Italian, and so it was actually that part wasn't that hard. And of course, I had a lot of help from the person who wrote the film with me, and with the editor, and a lot of help also from Raffaele. That he had very clear ideas, and he's also a very funny man. So in that sense, I was lucky that everybody was in the same tune. Okay.
When I was a little boy, I had a fixation on Ingrid Bergman. She was my favorite actress, and I would miss school to watch her in the Bell
Oh, wow.
when she played the nun. And then as I grew older, I became aware of the scandals when she did Roberto Rossellini, and Hollywood put her on a pedestal. They knocked her right off it. It was a horrible scandal.
Sure.
And they really knocked her down. Of course, she came back to an incredible comeback with Anastasia and other movies. And the thing about this film is that we think of movie stars one way on film, and we expect them to be that way in real life, where life is not a movie.
Sure.
It's not a movie, it's real life. So what I learned a lot more about her, which really pleases me, because I still think she was one of the greatest and most beautiful actresses ever.
I do too.
Outstanding. What was she like to you, and what would she think of this film if she could see what her children and grandchildren and daughters and everybody are opening their conscience and their mind to what happened in the film?
So, of course, I wouldn't be able to say if she liked it or what she thought, but I am quite sure that she would absolutely be. She wouldn't censor the film as well, and because she was from. I don't know her that much. I know I've met her 3 times. I remember only one time, and it was my grandfather's 70th birthday. And but I'm sure she was very curious and very open-minded. So probably she be curious enough to see it, and then I don't know if she would enjoy it. Okay.
Okay, in the front.
My question is for Raffaele. I imagine that with Italian government money, and it looks like from the credits you had a lot of government support, usually it goes to films that maybe stay in Italy, or films that we don't necessarily always see here in America. Did it make it harder or easier that it was such a kind of a global topic, of interest outside Italy? And also, how long did it take you to assemble the financing and all the partnerships for this?
Yeah, it was quite long. It is quite hard, as usual, producing documentaries and co-producing documentaries. The finance, well, the film was very successful in Italy, and it was premiered in the Venice Film Festival. So this was very good for the funding. But the fact that it has international potential was only a plus. At least in the last years in Italy, the ministry realized that film that has an international potential should be awarded. But this is really recent idea in the Italian ministry. But yes, we wanted to make a film that could travel, that we think that it has inside. It's about a special family, but has a universal value, as also Isabella said, and I think everyone of us can find something about their family inside the film. Yeah.
Okay, that's yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay.